All right, so we talked a little bit about consciousness. Now we're going to look at what are some altered states of consciousness that can come up. So if you need clarity from the last video, this is a good one to kind of emphasize a little more. What is that altered state of consciousness? What kind of variations can you go through, etc. So, an altered state of consciousness or a variation is a state where there's a shift in the quality of pattern of mental activity as compared to waking consciousness. So, some of these occur spontaneously. These can be daydreaming, drowsiness, or just dreaming in general. So we don't necessarily plan these states. Sometimes we just kind of drift off into a daydream. We just naturally get a little bit drowsy, not really too big of an ordeal. Some are physiologically induced. So those would be your hallucinations, um, pleasure centers, food or oxygen starvation. So those are things that are more physically going on with you that can cause altered state of consciousness. Then we have some that are psychologically induced. So sensory deprivation is one. If you guys have ever seen things like Stranger Things when Eleven sits inside the tub of like salt water and she can just kind of float there, it's all dark. She usually has something over her eyes. That's an example of sensory deprivation. Hypnosis and meditation are also some examples. So, not all levels of consciousness are the same. And as you guys saw, if you did the little diagram in your notes, you would see that not every level is going to be the same. You may find, watching a scary movie to be the most conscious you are throughout your day. Just because you're on high alert, you're like looking at more things around you, you're more aware of what's going on around you. But you also might be someone who meditates regularly. So these variations are things that go on all throughout your day. So talking about meditation. So mindfulness meditation is something that a lot of people practice. Meditation in general is something that's been practiced for centuries in religious contexts. But in the past 50 years, it's become more increasingly popular in a secular practice. So, secular meaning not necessarily tied to religion. Scientific studies have shown that people who meditate will usually have lower stress, they'll have lower blood pressures, they have typically a better quality of life and a higher well being. So, what is meditation? It is mental training practice that involves focusing your mind on your experiences. So, some people will look at their emotions and meditate, their thoughts. Other people look at just sensations. So some people, when they are going through counseling and things like that, if they're asked to start meditating to kind of bring down stress levels, they will usually start with something like, okay, let's think about, we're sitting on a beach. What do you feel? What do you see? What do you smell? What can you touch? And that's how some people actually start their mental state. This technique is also used in other types of therapies to get people to calm down from anxiety, just by kind of grounding themselves and saying, okay, what can we feel? Name 5 things we can see, 4 things we can touch, 3 things we can smell, and so forth. All right. So, our next one is going to be altered sleep state. So, sleep is one of our most natural biological rhythms, and we'll talk more about that in the next video. So, you have to go through these cycles of sleep. Sleep is very unique within the state of consciousness because it lacks full awareness, but your brain is still active. So, it is super, super unique because I'm going to say it one more time because it lacks full awareness, but the brain is still active. So, the brain is still going on. It is still doing everything it needs to. It is still functioning completely how it should. Everything is still firing at, rapid mode. However, you are lacking awareness. You don't know what's going on around you. Unless you are a super, super light sleeper, chances are you're getting woken up or not getting woken up by things. You are able to sleep through that alarm. You don't necessarily hear a conversation that's taking place around you, etc. So next video, we are going to start talking about sleep. Thank you for watching the supplemental video, and I hope you have a fantastic day.